Hey guys, sorry for the late update, but here is my Harry Potter video. I have all your questions. Hope I got everybody's here. And without any further ado, let's start. Favorite and least favorite characters. Okay. Favorite characters: Snape, Bellatrix Lestrange, Hermione Granger, Luna Lovegood, and the twins. I like Snape because he is the most complicated. He's the most complex of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter characters. You know, he's not a completely good person, but he's not a completely evil person. He's very much in the middle. He very much is an anti-hero, but sort of an anti-villain itself. He does good deeds, but he's driven completely by selfishness, and I think that's really interesting. I enjoy Bellatrix Lestrange mostly, honestly, because of Helena Bonham Carter's portrayal of Bellatrix. I think that kind of wild, crazy, almost Azula-like personality is what draws me to her, and the fact that she's such a great duelist and she's basically Voldemort's lieutenant, and it's a woman, and I don't know, that kind of like, even though it's a horrible, position to be, I kind of like her for it. Hermione was my favorite character in Harry Potter since the beginning. I thought that she was bright, not traditionally attractive, and, she got caught on her flaws a lot. I mean, she was a little bit know-it-all and stuffy, and she grew out of that. She became a more well-rounded person and could rely on everything and not just her intellect, and I like that she grew up in that sense. Luna Lovegood is my favorite female character out of all the girls, and even I like her better than all the guy characters too, because she's just really fun. She's the kind of person I'd hang out with. I identify a lot with Luna, that kind of crazy, kooky, believe in everything personality, and I kind of love her for that. And the twins are just hilarious. I mean, I can't imagine the books without them. I mean, they're not a major part of the story, yet you need them so much because they bring so much lightness to a really dark story. Least favorite characters: Percy, Harry, Ginny, Tonks, post-Prisoner of Azkaban, Remus, and Lily and James. Just briefly, Percy, because Percy's kind of a mixed barrel, because I realized on reflection of reading the books that one of the flaws of the Weasley family and Molly Weasley, is that she pits her children against each other. And when Percy gets picked on, members of the family do not leave to defend him. Academically, he tries to be everything I think his mother wants him to be, because he's got two older brothers, both head boys, prefects, so that's his expectation that he has to live up to. And so it's hard for him, and he wants to achieve that, but then he's got these younger siblings that don't really care as much, and Ron probably took after, the twins because they're closer in age. And so he kind of builds a kind of resentment, and he tries to be stronger, and that's why he doesn't really connect with the family as much. And I understand that, but I just never liked him. I think when you think about Percy, while he's kind of annoying and obnoxious, as I look back on him, he's really a complicated character, because when we look at the Weasley family, we think, oh, they're the heroines and the heroes, so we like them, but there's a lot of flaws with that family, and I think Percy reflects the issue with the Weasley family. How, just because, they're Gryffindors and they're great, compare it to like the Malfoy family, who sticks together completely throughout the entire series, where you've got Percy, who even feels separated from his family, but they're supposed to be like the good characters and the good guys, and they're supposed to be unified. Harry, and I'm going to kind of answer this, there's another question about what I would do to improve Harry. My issue with Harry is that I don't like his personality at a point where he grows up, but at the same time I find his personality realistic. I think that the way he reacts to things makes sense for his character. I just don't like those changes. I like little Harry from 1 to 4, and I think after Cedric's death changed him, but then of course it would change him. That's a traumatic event that would happen. It would change anybody. So while I don't like that character changes, I can't fault him for it, but I still don't like him as a character post that point. Ginny I don't like because, not because of her boyfriend thing, I don't care. I just don't like her because she developed all these abilities and powers without any build-up. She basically was non-existent for 3 books, then became really important in book 6, and then all of a sudden they're together. It just was very Deus Ex Machina. It basically felt like she was created to be his love interest. Like, she had no other role besides to do that with him. And, while she does have her moments of being independent and spunky, I really as a whole never cared for Ginny. I did when I was younger, but after I've reread the books, I really have come to not like her character. I won't call her Mary Sue because I'm trying to get out of the tendency of calling every powerful girl character Mary Sue because it's not true. But I do feel some of her traits do lead to her being just basically molded to be a female love interest for Harry. I don't like Tonks. Tonks is like Ginny to me. I mean, Tonks was interesting in the 5th book, in Order of the Phoenix. But since she got with Remus, I don't have any problems with her being with Remus as a ship couple thing. It's not about that. It's because I feel like Tonks was created to be with Remus so that they could die tragically and have an orphan son and complete the whole Harry Potter cycle. And I've never liked her because of that, because I feel like if you're going to create a female character with an interesting backstory of being the niece of one of the most evil women in the world, develop her. But she never seemed to develop as her own. She just developed as being Remus's wife. And same thing with Remus. As he became married, he just became like distant and to be kind of like the anti-James of wanting to leave his family and stuff. So I just kind of became very disillusioned with both Tonks and post Prison of Azkaban and Remus. I feel like they've both been better as independent characters to show their individual traits rather than eventually becoming part of a matching set. And I don't like Lily and James, not because I'm a Snape fangirl entirely, just because I find James to be a jerk character. But he gets exalted because he's in Gryffindor, and it basically shows up the whole Gryffindor Slytherin stereotype. And I don't like Lily because I just don't like. I don't understand how she can, hate one guy for being a jerk, and being a racist jerk, but then hate someone else for being an equally classist jerk. It's to have the same whole. Like, if you don't like one, why spend time with the other? I mean, he may have been good to his friends, but it's just he's still classist. Why go with either of them? My favorite books, and this is basically the favorite movies too in this order. My favorite book is Prison of Azkaban, then it is Deathly Hallows, then it is Goblet of Fire, then Chamber of Secrets, Sorcerer's Stone, Order of the Phoenix, and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. That's the exact order of how I like the movies from favorite to least favorite. I like the mystery of Azkaban. I think it was really thrilling, and even though I read the books backwards, so I read 4 before 3, I was still really wrapped in the mystery of 3, even though I knew that Sirius was good. I like 7 because it really solidifies the relationships of these characters, and even though it has its ups and downs, I still can't see it as a horrible book. I mean, the epilogue isn't good, but at the same time, I feel like I can't fault the entire book for that. 4 I love because it really takes the turn of it becoming a darker series. This is no longer just these kids going on adventures and saving stuff. This is about a legacy, and the war starts really. Chamber of Secrets because again you get a little bit of that mystery, and you get people dying, and that idea of death happening in this world that we once thought was just so magical and whimsical really kind of makes the books a lot darker. 1 I like because it's simply it's a great fun story. It has its weak points and whatever. The writing isn't as strong in the first book, but it's still a great introduction to the story and the mythos of Harry Potter. 5 I don't like Angsty Harry. It took up a lot of space. And basically not that much happens in this book besides the end and the prophecy and Dumbledore's army formulating to make its a real stance in the 7th book. So this book I don't like is all about romances, and I don't really care about any of the canon ships in Harry Potter, so it really didn't do anything for me. So, and the same complaints I have about the books of those is the same I have about the movies. What house would I classify myself in? I personally identify as Slytherin, even though I'd probably be more Ravenclaw. I don't want a person to ask the question of, do I hate Gryffindor, or do I just hate how they're presented in the books? I don't hate Gryffindor. When I was younger, I used to think I was a Gryffindor. But what I've kind of come to as I read the books is I don't like how it's basically Gryffindor good, Slytherin evil, everybody else, we're just going to put you as extras. And that kind of has always hindered the series to me as I look back on it, because I feel like as good of a writer as J.K. Rowling was, she should have been able to make that kind of good-evil concept without having it be one house and then another house. And one person said, well, everyone bows in Slytherin. Then you have Peter Pettigrew, who was in Gryffindor and was probably started the whole chain of events with Harry's parents being dead. Another person was like, well, no one knew Peter Pettigrew did it, but it was still Sirius Black, who was still in Gryffindor, and there's no Gryffindor stigma. So the stigma against Slytherin actually makes me root for them in a certain way, because I feel like, especially characters like Draco, who are really just kind of cowardly in a sense, and are only bullies because, well, you're being told from the beginning that you're going to be slime because you're in Slytherin, and you've got generations of this, and thinking since Voldemort that they're going to be in dark arts and dark magic having such a strong stigma, that of course there's going to be this whole group of people who feel they have to exert themselves and be bullies because that's how they're going to react. And I also like Ravenclaw because they're the smart kids and Luna's in it, and I kind of want to be friends with Luna and hang out with her. Shipping, I like Luna and Neville, which I think is adorable. I like the movie put that in there. I like Luna and Harry, and I think it's funny, there's a quote by Daniel Radcliffe where he thought that it was going to be Luna and Harry, and I think it's just so cute. I like Victor and Hermione and Ken. I like Draco and Hermione and like Fan and whatever. And I like Ron and Harry. Like legitimately, like I feel Ron and Harry should have got together at the end of the book. Like I feel like that'd be like the best couple ever for them. Now the fan questions start. If you could kiss one person of the Harry Potter cast, who would it be? Emma Watson. How does one cope now that Harry Potter is done? Well, after the tears, I really feel like what people should do is move on to more fantasy. I don't think one series should ever be the be-all and end-all of a genre. Like, if you're a Twilight fan, you know, don't stop reading vampire novels after you read Twilight. If you're a Harry Potter fan, look at other fantasy. Like, I feel like after you've read Harry Potter, it's time for you to start reading, like, the Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings to start seeing what made Harry Potter. Because if we didn't have Lord of the Rings and Narnia and, his Dark Materials, we probably wouldn't have the Harry Potter genre as we have it now. So to look at other series with the same sort of ideas to get a more broader look at the genre as a whole. Top 5 female characters: Hermione, Luna, Bellatrix, Minerva, and Fleur. Fleur is kind of weird because, like, I really hate the treatment she got for being pretty by, like, the Weasleys and Hermione. Like, I felt like that kind of made me mad at Hermione and the entire Weasley family, because I'm just like, so because she's pretty and French, you think she's automatically shallow. Like, seriously? Whatever. This is kind of an active question, but I still liked it. Since Harry Potter and Twilight are ending, which series do you think will be more successful? The Hunger Games or The Immortal Instruments? And I'm gonna just go down a limb and say, The Hunger Games, because one, The Immortal Instruments has a horrible lead actor playing Jace, and two, because Cassandra Clare has a lot more controversy for her work, and there's a lot of people who really don't like Cassandra Clare and a lot of principles that she will probably not have as big as an outcome because of her actor and her reputation. I think more people like The Hunger Games, even people who may not exactly enjoy it can still at least enjoy like the action sequences and stuff, and it can probably bring in more men than the Immortal Instrument series. What would you change most from any of the movies? Honestly, I would change Narcissa Malfoy's hair, because that whole black and blonde shit really pisses me off, and it throws me off every time I see her, because the actress is so good at playing that role that when I see her hair, I think of Lady Gaga, and I can't, like, shake that look now. And leads up to, how do you feel about Narcissa Malfoy? I mean, she's a good mother. She is morally flawed with the whole, you know, she's not a Death Eater, but she leans towards the whole blood purity line. So she's a flawed maternal character. But I think she's a good mother, and her and Lucius's priorities is Draco. And what I think is just so fascinating about just the stigma of Slytherin is how everyone thought before Deathly Hallows that Lucius and Narcissa were in like arranged marriage and didn't care about each other, that he was having affairs, that he was abusing Narcissa and Draco. Like, everyone assumed that all the Slytherin parents legitimately beat and, you know, hurt their children and didn't care about them or neglected them with the mothers because she's like so like posh and whatever that she didn't care about her kid. But here you see, no. Their children, their family is the most important thing about them. And that's the thing about Slytherin. Self-preservation does not just mean surviving. It means your family surviving. It means that you put family and your blood before anybody else. So the Malfoys put their family before Voldemort and any of that bullshit. And I think that's important to see about the entire family. And it's just a Malfoy. What will you miss most about the Harry Potter movies? The cast. I mean, I love the cast of the Harry Potter movies. I mean, the 3 actors are great. And everyone they cast for it really brings their A game. And I will miss the cast and the excitement of seeing them and watching them grow up. You know, we watched Harry we watched Daniel and Rupert and Emma all grow up. And I think I'm going to miss seeing them and being excited to see them in Harry Potter. And Alan Rickman, of course. If you could change the way any character developed in the book, who would it be and why? Draco Malfoy. I mean, I mentioned the girls, and I think that's important, but then we can kind of balance them with like Hermione and Luna, who are very independent female characters. So I can escape Tonks and Ginny, but I feel like it's important that Draco had been redeemed. And that was another question. What do you think about J.K. Rowling not redeeming Draco Malfoy? I think that's a very fundamental flaw in Harry Potter. I feel like Draco was Harry's foil. And to really help Harry's evolution as a person, it was important to show that Draco was a person too. To redeem the character of Draco Malfoy and make him more human. Because for a very long time, Draco was just this. He's not evil, you know. He's a bully, he's a racist, and he's a complete ass. But he can be redeemed. He could become a better person. Like, I always felt that about him, and I always felt like people were always saying in like interviews about Harry Potter that in the end there would have to be a redemption and a reconciliation between Harry and Draco, because Draco was the first person Harry ever met in the magical world. So that also too would make you think that, okay, they have to eventually come together, but that never happened. So that to me is my biggest disappointment with Harry Potter, that they never really showed that other Slytherins could become better people. They never had a really positive Slytherin character at all. I don't even count Slughorn, because he's not really a positive character. They just throw all the Slytherins under a blanket, and I think to have Draco Malfoy, he's kind of just like, you know, the king of the Slytherins, be shown to be more than what we've seen of him through Harry's perspective, would have been one of the best things about the series. How do you feel about them cutting Ted and Victor from the ending of the movie? What really could have been done with them, though, is what my thing is, because I feel like the way they shot the epilogue, it was really just show Harry and, you know, the posse, and then show their kids and then be off. They didn't even say who, like, Hermione and Ron's kids' names were. We don't even know the names of all the other kids. We just know, you know, Asp, because that's what he's there for. If they introduced Ted and Victor, they wouldn't have even been properly introduced. They probably would have just been shown in passing. So I don't think that we lost anything from them not being specifically stated in the movie. If you could pick one thing from the last book to put in the movie that they didn't, what would it be? The house elves all coming together under Creature. That was like probably the one thing that I really, really wanted to see that we didn't get, and I feel like that would have been like awesome. How do you think Lily should have handled the situation with Snape? Like I said, I can't really say. I find her reaction to be understandable, but like I said, she chose a jerk over another jerk, so I never really got that. What do you feel is better, books or movie adaptations? Books, hands down. Better character development, easier flow of plot. I hate the Half-Blood Prince movie. I hate the movie. I can tolerate the book. I hate the Order of Phoenix movie. I can handle the book. The book has a lot more depth and a lot more things going on than the movies can. And so I feel like I can find really nothing I really enjoy about the movies in certain ways that I can be like, well, I can at least enjoy this about the books. What are your thoughts on the Prince of Azkaban movie? I felt like it was the first Harry Potter movie that was both an adaptation and the movie in itself. I mean, stuff that was switched up, like the fireball at the end and stuff like that, are very minute. They're almost irrelevant to the flow of the story. And that's the thing about the first two movies. It felt like they were trying so hard. I mean, I know I said about adaptations need to be spot on, and I believe that, but you can't make them clunky. And that's what the two adaptations before this were. They were kind of clunky. And I think with Azkaban, they found a perfect balance of, you know, mixing stuff, still making it feel like a Harry Potter movie, still having it be an adaptation and be like the book. For not every single detail had to be kept to exact way, as long as you kept the feel of it. Because it doesn't even fly the fireball, so just have it there at the end. You know, it's a good ending shot. Already talked about Draco. Daphne Greengrass, what do you think of her? She's basically like a lesser form of Ginny. She's just there to be Draco's wife. Do you have any pairings you like for the next generation? Scorpius and Rose, basically, like the commenter said, I like them because I didn't get Draco and Hermione, and I think it'd be funny to have Ron bring home a little Malfoy. What's your opinion on Dumbledore's story and life? And someone asked me about his whole thing with Grindelwald too, so I'll kind of combine this. I feel like that honestly made Dumbledore, his background and the dark side of him, made him a better character than he's ever been. I feel like he was a very much cut and dry mentor character for so long that to see that he had a dark side made the story of Dumbledore and his relationship with Harry that much more poignant, because we found out that there was so much more to this man than we ever saw. And even taking out into consideration that, you know, he and Grindelwald were romantically involved, that whole idea that Dumbledore could be so swayed by someone, it's just interesting because Dumbledore is larger than life. Like, he's even larger than Voldemort. So feared that even Voldemort can't stand to look at Dumbledore. Like, no, Dumbledore, don't come at me, no. So, to see that there was a man out there who made Dumbledore, who could sway Dumbledore, who could manipulate Dumbledore, is fascinating. And I think that makes him a more interesting character, and not just the typical archetype of the mentor. Um, will Harry Potter last in time? I think it will. I think it has a lot of themes and symbolism and story that it can really last, especially the first 3 books. I mean, if you want to just do a standalone story, those first 2 or 3 books can just be standalone stories. I mean, the entire arc is something that I think can be taught at any level, relatable at any level, and because the movies as a whole, the movie franchise as a whole is good, there will be that kind of idea to show them to your children. Like, how do I know Star Trek? Because someone told me these movies are good, look at them. How do I know about The Godfather and like Pulp Fiction? Someone was like, these are good, here they are, and so I saw them. So I feel like as long as our generation says that this is good and shares it with kids, they're going to end up liking it. Because the reason why people are into retro things is because people showed us that they were good. What could have been done to make least favorite movie better? Really, it's to follow the source material. So there's nothing they really could do. I could say they could stop making like Half-Blood Prince. The scenes with Draco, I love Draco though, but his scenes were too long. Like, I'm just looking at him staring at this cabinet for like 3 minutes, and I'm just like, okay. Either you kill the bird or you let the bird go. Because right now I'm just bored looking at you. So I feel like they just kind of like stretched it out to like calm down. Which death was the most shocking? I'd say out of the entire series, Cedric Diggory, because that was the first one. It was the first real death that we had experienced in Harry Potter, and it shakes you out of the system, because up until that point, even with the whole thing with Harry's parents and the whole Sirius Black thing, and the Chamber of Secrets, there is still this idea, okay, Voldemort is defeated. We're fine. Like, everything here is just a minor little thing, whatever. No, Cedric Diggory is dead. Cedric Diggory is dead by forces of Voldemort. Voldemort is back. And that death is just kind of like the first real time you see a character. And a young kid, too, gone. And I think, it's striking because he was a good guy, too. An honest, good guy. And he's just gone. And I feel like that really shook Harry Potter from just being a children's series to just being, alright, this is for everyone now. And it already was for everyone, because I feel like children's books can also just be for like anyone. But this is what made it like, okay, people were like, Harry Potter's for kids. No. Look at this scene right here. So Diggory's death right here changed everything. It's like Gwen Stacy dying in Spider-Man. It makes everything, it ups the ante on everything. It's the beard. Do you think that Draco and Hermione had chemistry? I ship it, so I say yeah. It could just ultimately just be hate, honestly. What would my Patronus be? Monkey. Stance on Lily and Snape. It's a sad story. I don't find it romantic though. I ship it in the sense that I think it's an interesting story. That's the thing about shipping. For me, all the time, shipping is not about because I think something's romantic or it's like beautiful or whatever. Sometimes I ship stuff because it's just a better story. I think the story of Snape and Lily is interesting, but like I said before, his love for her blinds him to everything else. I mean, he was willing to let her kid die and her husband die and just save her. I mean, that's completely selfish, His love for her is both his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. And I find that interesting for me. Like, I enjoy reading about them, I'll read stories about them or whatever, but, I can't be like, oh, they're a beautiful couple, because I don't think that about them. I think they're interesting. Did the fact that you love Emma Watson make you like Hermione more? No. Hermione was always my favorite character until Luna Lovegood came along and I fell in love with her instead. But I always liked Hermione. And even before I found Emma Watson attractive, I liked just Hermione. So it's pretty much just about Hermione. I talked about the Gryffindor house already. Do you think Draco should have had a love interest in the movies? His love interest was Pansy Parkinson for like the longest time, but they never really brought her in for the movies that much, besides like maybe 1 or 2 scenes, because she's not really that important. So, I mean, it's kind of irrelevant. He has a love interest, she's just not always there. Which scene from the books did you really want to see on film? Oh my god, the Mr. Weasley and Mr. Malfoy fight in the bookstore. That has been my dream scene. Because Jason Isaacs just getting pounding his hair, getting all messy and crazy. Like, I need to have that in my life. And the fact that it wasn't there was like the biggest disappointment. When I went to go see the second one, I was just like, they're not fighting? Shit! Yeah, that was the biggest disappointment ever. Do you feel they portrayed Draco's character like the books? Do you think the movie should have had more Draco? Um, Draco's kind of a very one-dimensional character for so long that he only gets developed really in the 6th book, and that's when he gets developed on film, so I feel like yes. I think the amount of Draco they had was perfectly fine. I mean, it's time constraints, and like I love Draco, I think he's attractive too, but I think they had enough of him, and I feel like even in Half-Blood Prince, which he's supposed to be a major character in, they even had like overwhelmingly parts of him, like just scenes where they would stay on him for just like 5-10 minutes, and I'm just like, okay, we get it, but can you like do something with him? He's just staring at the cabinet. Let's see. What did you think of the Voldy hug? That was like the best scene ever. Like, I love the GAFs of that. It's just friggin' amazing. It's like the most awkward thing you could ever imagine. What would you have done to make Harry a better character? I think he's a good character, I just don't like him, I said that before. How do you feel about Cho Chang, and can you compare her to Ginny? Okay, let me tell you something about Cho Chang. When I was younger, I used to hate Cho Chang. Like, when I first read about her, I was just like, oh my god, Cho Chang. No, hate you, Cho Chang. You're so annoying. Like, I couldn't stand her. Like, she basically just, like, Harry was just fangirling her, like, so hard. I was just like, yo, Cho Chang is not the shit. Calm down. But I gotta say, like, when I reread the book, and I think a lot of my revelations of stuff came after I reread the books, like, much later. It's just like, yo, Cho Chang's okay. Like, I feel a lot of people hate her for the 5th book for her, like, talking to Harry about Cedric and, like, all that stuff. I'm just like, look. I know Harry is your baby and you want him to be happy, but her boyfriend, who she cared about, just died, and the only one who knows what really happened is Harry. So she wants to talk to Harry. She wants to get to know Harry because she wants closure, and the only one who can give her closure is Harry. She's not trying to use him purposely, and she probably did like Harry, but they had different expectations of what they wanted. I mean, she is older than him. I mean, it's only a year, but, you know, they were coming from different levels. He had always liked her, and she lost somebody important to her, and she reached out for the one person who just could understand her pain. And Harry didn't. Can't really fault her for not being the dream girl that Harry wanted, which is really what it's all about. Harry thought she was going to be something completely different than when she was, and when she wasn't what he wanted, he was disappointed. And that's not fair to Cho. The only way I can compare her to Ginny is that, like, they were both made to be love interests for Harry, and they both kissed him. That's pretty much it. I mean, I don't particularly like either of them more than the other. I mean, they both basically serve the same function, but I feel like I like Cho. I like Cho a little bit, I guess. How do you feel about death by and spared by adaptation in Deathly Hallows? My thing is, like, as far as I'm concerned, because we didn't see the death scene, Peter Pettigrew is still alive. And I'm just like, okay, how are you going to keep Peter Pettigrew alive? Like, seriously, guys? That's the one character you don't let me see die? See, I hate Peter Pettigrew. Like, I hate him so much. And I wish that he could be boiled in fire. And because I can't boil him personally in fire, him getting choked by his own hand, which is like the most hilarious thing ever, was like gonna be my little thing. And I said that movie 3 times. I'm looking at him like, he didn't die. Looking at I talked to my friend Brittany Hill. I'm like, Brittany Hill, he ain't dead. She like, I know. I'm like, he ain't dead, because you don't see him die. He gets stunned. Where's my death? Why is he alive? That's it. And then Lavender, I don't remember if Lavender Brown died in the book, but I was just like, not Lavender Brown. Like, people hate Lavender Brown. Lavender Brown is my homie. I like that chick. She cool. She just wanted to get hello Snooky on. I was like, go ahead, Lavender Brown. Get that Ron. Get it. Because Hermione won't know what to do with it when she gets him. Side break. Let me tell you something about Hermione Granger. Hermione Granger don't know what to do with Dick. She don't. Because she gets fine as Victor Crumb staring after her. She's just like, she gets fine as McCormick staring after her. She don't have to like him. She don't have to even sleep with him. But she can flirt. She's ready to give her cunnilingus right there on the table. She's just looking at him like, what's going on? Hermione, get that ass. Get that ass. Oh, I gotta say about that. Alright, back to the next few questions. Do you think Harry should have had a love interest who was in the Slytherin house? No. Basically because that would only be for her to be like basically a love interest character, and that would be like her only function. And so I'd rather they just have a positive female Slytherin character than just have, you know, a love interest for Harry, because the only girls that we see in Slytherin are like one who's implied to be a butch and one who's a complete bitch, and that's Pansy. I would like more variety with my Slytherin, or crazy like friggin' Bellatrix. Discuss McGonagall and Umbridge. I really don't know what to say about this one. I mean, they're both too kind. I mean, I love McGonagall. McGonagall is like, she's Minerva. She's smart. She's loyal. She's dependable. You know, she's a real maternal figure to Harry. I think, like, people always say Mrs. Weasley, but I think Mrs. Weasley kind of just, like, you know, coddles Harry. She treats Harry better than Ron sometimes, and that kind of pisses me off, because it's just like, you know, I know you love Harry and you want to be, like, mother to all, but mother your own kids. Because I love Mrs. Weasley, I really do, but I think she has a lot of flaws as a mother by the way she plays her kids against each other, and also because I'm a middle child, I totally get why that shit is fucked up, and that does really, it really screws up your kids' self-esteem when you put them against each other, and it's not positive to do at all. But I feel like what I like about McGonagall is that she is a true mother figure in the sense that she does not favoritize. She will curse out a Gryffindor just as quick as she will curse out a Slytherin. She does not care. She treats everyone equally, and that's a true maternal character, even though she doesn't come off as softer or anything. Umbridge to me is like, I think it's fascinating. I hate her more than Voldemort. I would rather see Umbridge die than see Voldemort die. Like, I would like have to choose when would I die, like Umbridge. Voldemort, that's cool, whatever. This chick gotta go. She's so evil, but she's so nice. She's like GOP evil. She's like extreme. She's just smiling and looking at you like all prim and proper and whatever. It's like, no, you're fucking crazy. And she's an interesting female villain because she is the complete epitome of femininity. But she's completely hard. She's almost black-hearted. It's really interesting to see how you got like one kind of more stiffer character who seems like the kind of person who would be, you know, mean and rough, and then you get one who's kind of like light and fluffy, and she's really the evil one. So that contrast between the two characters is kind of interesting. And the last question is, do I like Harry better than as he's portrayed in the movies and in the books? I guess so. Movie Harry is very much, pretty much not as developed as book Harry. You know, he doesn't have the same emotions, same anything as book Harry. I mean, he has the same story, but I feel like, you know, even in the 5th book, his angst is cut down a lot. So he's a lot more likable and a lot more dependable in the books. I think it's probably because of Dan Rad charisma. So I gotta say, I do like Harry better in adaptations, but I think he's a more developed and more refined character in the books. So those were all the questions I got that I saw. I'm sorry if I missed any. If I missed one, I'll just answer it in the comment section. But that was the Harry Potter video. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.